Good evening, everyone. Pulkit, it was amazing to know what all HROne has achieved. And I also say special thanks to all my HR fraternity and colleagues who are here with us today. A lot has been said about me, and I will not go in any more in detail. But today, what we are going to discuss is performance, high performance, aligning people and profit with psychological safety, a taboo where most of the people don't even want to talk about the psychological safety. But let's start. Thank you very much, and I am humbled that all of you are here to hear me. So I appreciate your passion and your patience. Thank you. Anyone who can talk about innovation, and let's not talk about calculator to computer story, but think about HR as innovation. Any one of you would like to say something on innovation? Your feedback, your thoughts? Please go ahead. I don't have the mic. They might be having it. Sorry.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Amita this side. I'm leading Palia Trans Logistics. So as per my point of view, innovation that itself means any implementation, what ideas you are having in your mindset. It can be in the field of IT, it can be in the field of like anything. So just the implementation of the ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so
Amrita.
much.
It's about people. If we do not take care of our people and our mindset and utilize their creativity and their intelligence, we will never be able to innovate. So it's always about people, and people are the one who are the innovators. And how do we go about it? Does somewhere I hear about HR? Is HR helping organization innovate? How many of you will agree to this? I see little hands. So see, here is the difference. Most of the time, when we are in the boardroom, HR is asked, you will be the last one to speak. The reason is, whereas it is the HR who actually was the instrument or the instrumental in hiring the person, training the person, bringing the person to that level where he can contribute, he or she. So please don't take it as gender. I'm just talking about that, but this is how we're talking about. Does people say is HR, and how does HR resonate with making sure that their people are the assets to the organization? What exactly is our relationship with people and profits? And most of the time you will say people are too expensive and we are incurring losses, and how do we go about it? And most of the time the HR is called upon and say, you know, the resource is too expensive. Well, if the resource is too expensive and our pyramid cost is going high, you want HR to innovate and come up with solutions which would be, okay, let's hire freshers, let's train them for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, and put them into the pipeline. Either they will have to, if it's a technology firm, the demand from the stakeholder is minimum 2 technologies. Latest technology the person should know, so that if one resigns, I can replace. That's the demand on HR. And imagine all the time you have is where the manager says, you know, my person is not satisfied with the work culture, with the way we are growing, and the solutions we are providing. They're asking for new technologies, newer things, and all that burden comes to HR saying that how do we get resources in the pipeline all the time, but then there are tons of and millions of organizations, they have a pipeline too. And how do you manage that? And that's where it comes on. How do you come up with different ways of making sure that your people and your profits both are maximizing? And I'll give you an example here. So I'm putting this here because there is 2 examples. In fact, let me share that. Long time back when I was with HP, we had a cultural training. You know, you have this global resources where you have the cultural training. And I had a VP sales, and he was not an Indian, so please don't take it in the way that it's always Indians who create problems. He was not an Indian. And I had another gentleman who was an Indian, and both of them, I was trying to explain them, and they were supposed to visit Japan. So I said, Japan, the culture is totally different. You know, we have to give you a training implement, and the gentleman told me, HR has no work. They come up with foolish ideas of training us on culture sensitivity, culture training. What the hell are you talking about? I am the VP sales, and I'll manage it. Let go. And the reason was, why? Because when they entered the boardroom, the room of the Japanese firm, they gave a wonderful presentation and they quoted the price. And the Japanese looked at it and none of them gave an expression. This is long time back, I'm talking about 2000. You know, and they were like, oh, why are they not giving, they reduced the price. You know, he was so aggressive, he reduced the price. And they just walked out and he said, oh, I don't know what's wrong, but later on, there was a big mail saying that we accept the proposal with the reduced price. You make a loss. You have your people, you have your profits all gone because your people is not trying to understand why are we making strategies for the organization. Okay, that's why they say HR is all, you know, a big burden to the organizations, but no one is trying to understand how it is, although I'm not saying it's changing, but this is something which you need to understand, how profit helps you grow when your organizations grow, when your people grow. And we talk a lot about career development, career modeling. We talk a lot about it. If HR, in today's generation, and let me put it across this because there was an article by Dave Ulrich on this. Should I stay? Should I go? And if you want, you can, on the LinkedIn, you can follow him. This article says, I'm burning out. I want to move out of the organization. And HR, if they don't have the tools which says that your employee engagement surveys are not reflecting that your people are not they are not honest and they're not sharing their real feedback, and someone who's there in the position for last 5 years, that person is anyway gone, and you are losing profits. Just a small thing, wanted to share this 2 example. Is profit too mechanical? How many of you will talk about this as profit being too mechanical? And most of the business will say no. But then HR will say yes, because HR understands you have high performance that doesn't come free. And what do we talk about high performance? You have a person who's doing the same mundane task for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, and you expect that the performance should be at the highest level. It cannot be. Even when there is people who are here, and as an HR or a CHRO or a head of the HR, you need to understand your business and you need to train your people and make them future ready For that, there are a lot of, there has been many, I would say, tools which helps you, and I'm not getting into that, but ultimately you need to understand your people, and for that, you really need to start focusing on it. And for focusing on that, I wanted to tell you about something which is called high performance is equal to output versus input. We all know that, and it's not something which we don't know, but something which really helps as an organization when you start focusing on this is something called peak performance, a formula which you train your people. And what do you do on the peak performance? You create a workplace which will have focus, fun, and there should be also fear. Now, fear doesn't mean that I come and I start threatening you. It's not that. It says you have to be focused. So there is a formula which says everyone should work with deep thinking and should be focused for 25 minutes and then take a break and then come back and then work together. Work again for 25 minutes. This gives you the maximum output. It helps you actually start working, utilizing your brain fully, because it's not there that you 3 hours or 2.5 hours, which says productivity of a person will increase when you have 25 minutes of focused work and take break and then again work. And you are definitely trying to help your organization increase the high performance, increase your productivity, and also make sure that your profit goes up. Fun, if there is no element of fun in your work, ultimately you will get bored and you will either burn out or you will be demotivated to move out of the organization. And fear is where you should have, how do we go back? Okay. Fear is there where it's okay. So we have focus, fun, and fear. Let me explain how does it work. It works when you have created healthy challenges, you have identified key tasks. There must be certain tasks which as a team or as an individual you will be doing, and incorporate enjoyment into that, and balance is the key. And let me give you an example if you really want to have it, and I will give an example of a sales team where you understand that you have to increase your sales and you have to be focused. There should be minimum distractions and you're able to perform the task. Similarly, you should have some fun activities where the fun activities doesn't mean that you start singing and dancing, but in the work which you are doing, it should be some kind of a reward and recognition. Here, let me put it across. In HP days, or even in Pepsi days, we had zone-wise challenge, for the sales team. And HR came up with a wonderful idea that, you have to reach a sales target of 300, just giving an example. And what happened, the sales team started doing is, even if they were doing more that year, because the reward was only till 300, target was achieved, they would not put in the other sales target, and they'll make sure that it is kept for the next year, next quarter, that they would give that and make them the incentives on that. Now, as an HR, you have to be innovative, and you really need to understand that your sales team, even if they have done something beyond the target, you incentivize that and you propose that to the board member so that they do not play around these things, and you're able to make sure that your team members are able to demonstrate beyond what is their performance or beyond what was the target. Fear, set idealistic targets which can be received, but it should be challenging enough for them to put in their effort and they are able to deliver. So that's what we are talking about, is the performance where you can have a high performance and you can deliver it from your organization. These are certain things which I would put in on this, and for implementing this, you really need to identify the key tasks, incorporate enjoyment, create healthy challenges, and make sure that you reward them. So coming on this, when we talk about high performance, most of the time, and I'm putting this across here in BV when we were there, and I was managing France as well as Malaysia. Of course, the challenge was there with, different countries with different ways of the reward system. How do you come up and make sure there is one reward which can be rewarded as per the organization, or you can have the similar kind of hierarchy across the organization. Here, you really need to play the role where you have to see, as an HR, how do you come up with bridging the gap, because there is a lot of cross-team event, and there is a lot of work which needs to be done, and you have to train and mentor these team members. So moving back, I am going to talk about the psychological safety, but before that, I think every one of us knows about this, that humankind have come from all these, and today we have the human brain, which is, we are now on information, AI, and blockchain, and a lot of things, but has our brain developed? And what do you mean by that? I am going to ask everyone in the room, if your boss gives you 5 out of 6 feedback, he says 5, you're fantastic, and 1 is negative. What is the reaction you have? Why is it? How come I have a negative feedback? I am perfect, I'm outstanding. How did I get a negative feedback? And why do we do that? Something called as Myganda, you have a brain part which refuses to take this into consideration. And the first thing, reaction for you is either I kill this manager, or I go out and I will not speak to my manager or my teammates, or I will have a teammate who is very near and dear to me, I will crib, he will also crib, or I will go to the third person who has no clue, and I'll talk about that. And I'm so frustrated, let's go. Guys will go and have a cigarette, girls will get into the washroom, and yeah, I feel like stamping or throwing my weight, and all that will be there. I'll give you an example of myself. We all have this. It's not that we don't have it. How do we keep a check on this? So I have this habit. I was supposed to fly. I have this habit of procrastinating that thing where I was supposed to do some shopping, and next day was my flight. So I was in the office till 8, and I knew the shops will close, and then I run to the shop, and I was like, okay, the guy is closing the shop, and he was half the shutter down. I jumped in and entered the shop, and he was like, what? What is she doing? And then can you remember, after that, I come out. After that, I take a basket, and I start picking things, because I have to use that next day. And then the guy said, okay, fine, and he's billing. He was so helpful. He was billing. And then while he's billing, I see one of the socks, which is of 10 USD. And typically, like Indian, we start calculating in rupees. How much is that money? And then I was like, oh my God, what nonsense, are you charging me this much? And I made a scene, and he was like, lady, do you want to buy? I said, no. And I threw everything and I walked out. And next day morning, after I was calm and cool, exactly 9 o'clock the shop opens. I enter the same shop. The guy is there and he was like, oh my God, she's here again. I picked the same basket and I said, please, can you bill me? Bill it, and I paid, and I came. This is all how our brain works. We don't, the rational brain just stops with the stress. It doesn't talk about it. And can you, after that, I still regret, why did I behave this way? And I decided to do my MBTI to understand why did I behave like that. And that gave me that this is the brain function which always, most of the time when we get feedback, we want a big sword and kill our managers, because in olden days, if you remember, if someone had taken your work, either the first thing it was what saying, take the sword and kill the person. That's what, and our brain has not developed. A bit of biology, sorry. Your environment is hostile. Remember, a small wrong step, and it's bad week. You must be careful. No new thoughts, just stick to the safe plan, just survive the week. Most of the time, you really need to calm down, take a step back. In MBTI, we are taught, take a step back, do not just behave like this, and do not keep giving cold shoulders to the person who gave you a feedback. It was a feedback which he or she wanted to give you because that is the area of improvement you were talking about. But all the time, we all say, you give me the candid feedback, give me the real feedback, and the moment you give the feedback, you never take that into the right frame of mind. It's a provincial text. You ask to be better thoughts and better decision making. I'm sorry that you won't be possible. It doesn't help, because we are all the time talking about this. How many of you know about this, and especially neurodynamics and neurosignature, and knows that with good experience and good environment of learning, your brain can change and your behavior can change. So what is exactly psychological safety? We all have shared beliefs. Now, one question here, a lot of time we talk about diversity and inclusion. And the moment we say diversity and inclusion, so first thing comes is gender diversity and inclusion. And everyone will say, I embrace diversity. And they say, but when I'm hiring for a night shift, I don't want a woman. She won't be able to manage it. Don't fix women, fix workplace. It's not women you have to fix. It's the workplace practices and policies, and it is the environment which you're creating. An example here, we have a night shift. When I was in BV, we decided that neither male, neither female will come to office on the night shift. They will work from home. And it was not during the pandemic, it was before that. And we said, they will still get the shift allowances because they're working in the night shift. So it was a gender-neutral decision because you want to create that kind of an environment. What is the bad news? High performance versus psychological safety. The moment I give you a feedback, meri job to gayi boss, I think my job is on take. And if we say we are doing your succession planning, they are finding a replacement for me. And if we say we will train you and mentor you, am I not doing the good job? So how do you create psychological safety at workplace where people are able to, without their fear, without the set pattern of understanding that, okay, they're reacting in a negative way, how can they react in a positive way? And how do you train them to be open and transparent. To do that, you have to work on certain things, and these are some questionnaires which says, and I'm putting this and quoting here, there is an airlines, when you make a mistake, they do not take action against their employees. They say, okay, this is the mistake. I hope you will not repeat this next time. And that's kind of a psychological safety you are giving them, saying that it's not there. And when I'm talking about, there are times, a lot of time when we keep repeating the mistake, an action should be taken. If we do not repeat the mistake and we are fully satisfied that our appraisal will not be impacted because of that one mistake, and a candid feedback is then, a real-time feedback is given, that means we are creating a great psychological safe workplace. People are open. People are open to express their ideas. Not in the room where the manager is there, their team member is not even able to speak. Or even if the team member goes and crib about the manager should have the confidence, there is something wrong with this person. Let me have a discussion. Let me understand. And don't take that to the heart. Problem and tough issues. People on their team, please accept people have different brains, different behavior, different type of way they interact, they think. Their thinking capability is different. Some are amazing because they're quick thinkers. But does that mean the person who is not quick thinker is dumb? No. That person can take time and come out with the idea. Give him time, give him support, that person also can be part of your team. And do not treat that person differently. There are times when in the meeting you will see one person all the time giving answers and one person keeping quiet. Focus on the person who is not participating. What's wrong? And work on that. These are some of the things which I said, implementing open forums and feedback session. Now please, a lot of time, we say we have town halls. Most of them people don't even speak on the town halls. Create an environment where they feel safe. Whatever their voice, it will not be taken against them. And they will not be judged. Decision-making process, like income tax, most of the time you are very confused. What taxes should I pay? What should I not pay? How much can I, what is the benefit I will get? What is the return will I be getting? So decision-making should be precise, and you should give the ownership to the person who is in your team who can take decision, but train other people also to take decisions. Provide training and development on psychological safety, where you really need to explain and train. And also, I think a lot of you must have come up across with the hybrid work model, where the manager, if he sees you every day, you are in good books. And if he doesn't see you, you're out of sight, out of mind. Arey, tum to kaam hi nahi karte, you don't work. Work from home, ho na? You're always in work from home. This is new concept, and you mostly, because you're judging the person, transparency and trust, I think all of you know, being HR, all these things. It's more magical than science. The reason is we have a social brain. Connect with that social brain in your team, making each voice matter, admitting your own fault, actively inviting inputs, responding productively, being nice all the time. Do you really think it works? Building an all-time comfortable environment, you really need to build that. And for doing that, you really need to talk about psychological safety, which is connected to people, profit, and you have a psychological workplace. And now let's welcome our Chief Psychological Safety Officer in us, which we all are. You don't have to hire a person for that. Social brain at workplace. It's a springboard that enhances collaboration and increased job satisfaction. We all have social brain. How do we utilize it? Foster open communication, leadership involvement, monitor and adapt, promote inclusivity. I'm putting this across here because I have come across when we hire freshers, and not from tier 1 or some colleges, I'm talking about from the remote areas of India, where we have running this program since last 7 years. We go to the remote parts of India and hire people from there. And you know, amazing results we have. These diverse workforce has helped us reduce cost, reduce profits, and enhance our productivity. With that, I leave you guys. I hope I've not taken too much of time, but it says time's up. Let's respect neurological differences, and let's make sure that we embrace every people with their different mindset, and make sure that the workplace is a place where you would like to work, go every day, and have a place where you feel proud of being a part of that organization. Thank you very much.